So you think that you can get a vehicle like this to do anything you want, including going into off-road parks, the Rubicon Trail. Well, here we are, the 2026 Honda Passport, and in the TrailSport Elite trim. Now, the question is, does it do all that and will put a smile on your face? It looks rugged and it's ready to fight somewhere on a tough trail. We're going to find out more about it. I'm Randy Stern, along with George Torline, and this is Victory in Reseda. Built on the latest platform shared with the current Pilot, the 2026 Passport has its own boxier design. The grille texture is bold, flanked by an LED lighting cluster on each side. The hood is flat, leading to a tall roofline, finishing with a flatter rear-end design and a pair of LED taillights. The Passport's name is stamped on both the front and the rear of the vehicle. Our TrailSport Elite adds a pair of 18-inch alloy wheels wearing all-terrain tires. Along with TrailSport badges, there is additional cladding and trim to maintain its rugged look. Inside the Passport is a 10.2-inch digital instrument cluster screen that is clear with all the information you need. The 12.3-inch infotainment touchscreen, along with the climate and audio controls, command the center stack. The main center console offers a few controls, including a series of buttons for the automatic transmission. You are treated to a set of huge two-tone leather-trimmed front seats that are both comfortable and supportive. The stitched TrailSport logos also make these seats attractive to all occupants. There's a lot of room between the two rows of seats for 4 adults or a family of 5. The expansive cargo space starts with a sizable 44 cubic feet behind the second row. Once you fold down the rear seats, that increases to 83.5 cubic feet. Power comes from a 285 horsepower 3.5-liter V6 with 262 pound-feet of torque on tap. A 10-speed automatic is connected to it, along with its second-generation iVTM4 all-wheel drive system and intelligent traction management. We would love to tell you more, so let's join Randy and George as they take the 2026 Passport somewhere off the beaten path.
So Randy, the 2026 Honda Passport.
Yes, indeed. It's a rugged little thing, isn't it?
Sure is, especially the trim that we're in.
Yeah, it's a TrailSport, which is the rugged type of trim level that's available on most Honda SUVs. However, this is the Elite, which means that you get TrailSport, but you also get a little bit of luxury.
Yeah, you do get some really nice extras in this.
Absolutely. Leather interior, it's additional amenities, you name it.
Especially when it comes to the trail or off-roading part of it, because with the Elite, you also get a few extra things. You get this TrailWatch with the camera system.
Yep.
So you get the front camera, and in combination with the side cameras, you can see where you are on the trail, as well as showing the trajectory of where your wheels are pointed.
That really does help when you're going out on a trail and you want to see if you can conquer it.
Now, it happens to be the start of deer season here in Minnesota, and we're filming out here in the woods, so we're playing it safe. I'm wearing this safety vest to help stand out, but this color, look at this color of this Passport.
I think we picked the right color for this, you know? Orange vests, orange coats, orange everything, even an orange SUV. Like, who can mistake this from anything else? Even if it's hunting season.
Yeah, this bright orange gets a lot of attention, especially when you get bright sun on it.
Absolutely. Color just pops when the light hits it.
So they call this sunset orange. And there's a new color for 2026.
It's sort of a sage-ish green.
They're calling it ash green metallic.
Ah, that's even more outdoorsy.
So that gives you a total of 8 colors to choose from.
Which is a good change, because this is also a major change from the last generation Passport, being it's on an older platform. Now it's on a more revised platform that's shared with the Pilot. It's still the same bones, a little bit shorter, so formula still remains. There's still a 3.5 liter V6 engine underneath the hood. They did change transmission to a 10-speeder,
which is new for the Passport, but they also added some additional capability to the all-wheel drive, the iVT M4 system.
Yes, indeed. Why don't you tell us all about it?
So with the iVT M4, they added extra strength to the rear differential, and they changed how they deliver power. You can now send up to 70% of the engine's torque to the rear, and of that, 100% can go to either to the left or right of the rear wheels.
It does help because you also can see in some of the photos that are out there from previous reviews, they try to prove this to be more of an off-roader than ever before.
So you got really 3 different key trims, but then there's sub trims below that, right? So
Absolutely.
you got the RTL as your base,
Right.
TrailSport, and TrailSport Elite.
However, with those 3 trim levels, there's also additional packages. Like, for example, the RTL has a towing package. There's a black package available for both TrailSport and TrailSport Elite. So you're picked for choice for whatever your mood feels like for going a little bit more of an adventure like we are right now.
So with the TrailSport and TrailSport Elite, they added some additional drive modes. Their new Sport, Trail, and Tow.
Trail's going to be the one that I think people are going to gravitate to, because I think that if you're thinking about maybe going to the cabin, you want to go deep into the woods. So Trail could possibly help. However, Trail really comes into play when you're on a road like this, sandy, gravelly.
Or you can take it a little bit deeper off-road that has a bit more articulation to some of the ruts in the road and potholes, things like that, that it will handle those fairly well. And the power delivery, let's say if one wheel gets lifted up into the air, or maybe even 2, it will have some extra capabilities in delivering power to the wheel that has traction and getting you unstuck.
I was wondering how this would perform when you go deep into a, like, not only an off-road park, but let's say one of those trails been washed out on the side of a mountain, you know, that type of thing. Because people look at this and they think, oh, I could follow that all-terrain vehicle deep into that trail.
Well, I mean, here we've got the 8.3 inches of ground clearance. So ground clearance really plays a key in what you're able to do. It has the grabber tires, which has plenty of traction, but you also need more ground clearance to really go deep into those off-road scenarios. And that, I think, could be an opportunity for Honda to maybe offer additional ground clearance in the future and maybe additional protection underneath with aggressive skid plates, things like that. And I think this would be a pretty neat machine if they beefed it up a little bit.
I believe that Honda's already working on that. They showed off a concept at the SEMA show in Las Vegas where they're showing a little bit more than just what they could do with in-house parts. I think they're talking about actually producing it.
It's sounding encouraging.
It is, because you know there's some people that are looking at this and are going, I want to have some more fun with it. I want to go on some really gnarly trails in it, but I wonder if I could do it in this specification. Maybe I need a little bit more.
Now the handling, so like if I want to do a fairly sharp turn, I'm turning the wheel quite a bit. Apparently they did adjust the steering rack for this vehicle. It should be a little bit tighter with fewer turns of the wheel, but it's still, you know, quite a few turns to me.
The steering could be a little bit tighter and the action could be a little bit tighter. One thing I've noticed is that it has some really good brakes to it.
True, the brakes are nice.
It's one of those things where no matter what trim you choose, there must be like a happy medium in order to increase the enjoyment that you can get out of this vehicle.
And a wider appeal, wider audience appeal.
Absolutely. But then again, the market is dictating that even if they don't take these off-road or on a gravel road anywhere, they want something rugged. They want something that looks rugged.
So coming along into the inside, the seats are comfortable. They're very accommodating for larger frames.
Absolutely. And the rear seat room, really nice.
Tons of legroom.
Oh, You want to talk about tons of room? The cargo space. If you leave the rear seat up, it's 44 cubic feet. There are a lot of vehicles that compete with this that don't even match that. And even better, if you fold the rear seats down, they claim that there's at least 83 cubic feet of cargo space. That's massive considering its class.
And then underneath the floor in the cargo area, you can have a little side panel that you flip open, and you've got a deep well in there that you can also stow a full-size tire upright if you wanted to. And then, of course, you have a spare tire.
It's extremely practical. There's no question about that.
And certainly with the Elite, you do get more sound insulation, which makes for a quieter cabin, even though you've got off-road tires. Yet you also have a 10-speaker Bose sound system.
Yes, we do, and sounds pretty decent.
I just wish I had SiriusXM, so bring your own music, I guess.
Yeah, I think we're finding some manufacturers are deleting some connectivity and some playback options for us to enjoy.
Now, when it comes to ride quality, the suspension is fairly soft and very compliant.
And what's even better is there's no real firmness to it, and it's not overly dampened, so it's not overly soft. It's just right.
Yeah, you don't feel a big floatiness to it. When you do hit a bump, it responds to the bump in a fairly soft manner, but there's no continuing rebound.
And yes, you do feel some feedback from a road surface like this, but it's not bad, really. I mean, it's fine. However, if you're in town, it's really nice. It's really smooth. It does the job for you.
So in summary, Randy, what do you think of this 2026 Honda Passport?
It's an improvement from the last generation model. It is his own identity. It's got his own design language. It looks more rugged. It's getting there because I think that if you work on the off-road capability of this vehicle, maybe raise the ground clearance, then I think it'll be spot on for people that are looking for something along those lines. But for practically everyday use, this is just fine. Most importantly, this is a very practical vehicle. It's got oodles of cargo space. It's got a nice rear seat area, and the interior in the cabin is quite nice. I think when people are looking at a vehicle that looks rugged, that looks like it wants to play in the dirt, this is there, almost, but I think you can get away with some really fun times with this particular vehicle.
In our thermal imaging analysis of the 2026 Honda Passport TrailSport, we find the heating elements for the heated front seats offer very good heating coverage from the upper back region in the seat backs and down through the seat bottoms. The rear seats also show a similar heating element pattern, providing very good heating coverage to the outer seats, particularly for rear seats in general. The heated steering wheel has heating element coverage around its diameter of the wheel and around most of its circumference of the outer wheel portion. Only a small portion of the inner wheel areas are not covered. Outside, the side mirrors are heated, and the rear window heating elements provide excellent coverage across the window, with an area of heating emphasis in the center of the window. Up front, the park positions for the windshield wipers are heated to help keep the wipers from freezing to the glass.
There's a choice of trim levels for the 2026 Honda Passport. Pricing starts at $44,750. This TrailSport Elite test vehicle came with a sticker price of $54,400. So if you like what you watch, don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the notification bell to find out when our next video is coming out. And don't forget to read all of our great content at victoryandreseda.net. Thank you for watching.